All right. Hey, everybody. This is Frederick, founder and publisher of Saturday AM, the world's most diverse manga anthology. Your eyes do not deceive you. What you see in my head is a pair of glasses that you get if your university, which in my case is UNC Chapel Hill, actually defeats our hated arch rival, Duke University, in the semifinals. Never been done before in the history of the NCAA college basketball tournament. We met our rival in the semifinal, and if you beat whoever won was going to go to the final game, and we beat them, and now we're going to the final. And in beating them, we actually even retired the coach, the famous Coach K, 42 years at Duke University, 13 Final Four appearances in his career. Only 5 national titles, though, whereas Carolina, my school, has 6. So anyway, it's just an amazing feeling. There's a few things that feels good as Carolina getting to the Final Four. It's happened 7 times in my lifetime. 4 since I was a student there at Carolina. So it's really awesome. Like almost literally every decade we make it and win the title. So hopefully that'll be the case this time. But the experience is incredible for someone who loves college basketball and loves my college like I do. And so, we get these cool glasses, which allow us to see everything. I can see you all there right now being envious of these glasses. We've got Jackie here as well. You see Jackie, she's working feverishly on her phone, keeping up with things that are happening on the computer. She's trying to keep track of what was that show you were just talking about, Jackie?
What Daniel
The
Tiger?
show that copied Mr. Rogers.
Daniel
What's
Tiger.
it called? Oh, I can't hear you, Jackie. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Daniel Tiger.
Daniel Tiger. So for the majority of our fan base, you all know what she's talking about. For the sliver of our fan base who actually has maturity on them like I do, you have no idea what she just said. You don't even know. I couldn't even repeat it, and I heard it literally 5 minutes ago. Daniel Tiger. That's insane. We also have some special guests here today for our March Art Madness round 4. We have Miss Morgan Walker, who is the creator of Soul Beat, one of our exciting titles. Morgan, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Happy to be back.
Morgan, if you can tell the viewers why you don't have your camera on.
Well, I also have those pair of glasses, but I have too many of them, and I think it would just make so many people envious. So I'm sparing you all the trouble.
There you go, folks. I hope you guys hear that. I hope you guys understand we roll differently here at Saturday AM. It's elite. It's very elite status to be here. Next up, we have Tony Dawkins, creator of Titan King, which is a title that's coming out in graphic novel form this summer. Tony, how are you doing, young man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Tony, so if you can tell people why you're not on the camera.
I'm not on the camera because I do not want to explode all of your sensitive mind with my higher earthly self. My presence cannot be comprehended by normal people.
So you guys can guess he's lying. Second of all, the audio quality is not very strong, and that's why you know he's lying, because it's really not a question of showing his video. To spare you guys his looks, Tony is a handsome man, kind of in the Cedric the Entertainer vein.
I'll kill you.
Raymond Brown would love that. No, Tony's traveling, so we were fortunate to get Tony to join us today. He's traveling, but he should be at his destination soon, and we may get him on camera. Last but not least, you see the little graphic there in the corner, looking like a serial killer from a Frank Miller graphic novel like Sin City. Is Jeffrey John Louise. Jeffrey is the artist, my co-creator of Yellow Stringer. Jeffrey just celebrated a birthday as well, so we need to wish Jeffrey a very happy birthday. Jeffrey, how are you doing today, young man?
It's going good. It's going good. It's been pretty nice so far.
Well, fantastic. And you are not on camera. Why?
Honestly, I just don't have a camera at the moment anymore.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. The young man has no camera. So there you go. I don't know what to say to that. I have seen him before. I know he exists. So he has a camera at some point, but evidently for today's show, he does not. And so we're made sadder as a result of that. We then, of course, have you guys watching this. Of course, we have a number of people who are excited to see round 4 of March Art Madness. And for those of you guys who don't know, March Art Madness is our gigantic global art tournament that occurs every year. This is the 7th annual art tournament, and we've had just incredible visionary artists this year from countries like Brazil and Madagascar and Italy and Argentina, Ireland, Nigeria, New Zealand, you name it. So it's been a really incredible tournament this year. We're now down. We started with 64 artists. Every week, those artists are paired up against one another. If they're in different brackets or different teams, and they then have to produce a brand new piece of art based on a theme that we give them. Once they have nailed that theme, they then have to. We're going to do today, as well as you, the fans, vote to determine who is the most competent and exciting artist in that matchup. And then that artist who received the most votes, they then advance to the next level. And obviously you start with 64 and every week it gets less and less. So 64 the first week with people being eliminated for every matchup, that then takes you down to 32. That then takes you down to 16. And we're now down in this round 4, to 8. Our final round is next week. So this is a really pivotal round to determine who will be the winner of each of the individual teams that they're put on, as well as who will be the number one winner across all the teams to walk away with the grand prize, including the grand prize Apple iPad that we give away every tournament. So in this round this week, we had a slightly different theme category for everybody. And we're going to talk about it now as we start looking at the art. So I do want to take a quick moment to thank you all for being a part of our Saturday experience, to likewise let you know that you can continue to vote up until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. There's still a couple of hours left. Please do not hesitate to make your voice heard. Please don't hesitate to tell people about the contest so they can come check it out for themselves. They can check out the previous rounds, as well as they can partake in the latest round by voting. Again, we have a number of creators from different countries, from all over the world, still left in the tournament. So if you're someone from those countries and you want to see your country win this year's March Art Madness and be the best fan artist, be Saturday AM's top fan artist of March Art Madness for 2022, then please make sure you come out and vote for your favorite artist of this year's March Art Madness. So with that being said, let me first take you to and share my screen regarding our website, and where you can get more information about the contest and about Saturday AM in general. So here you go. This is the Saturday AM website. If you go to our website here, you can see that everything that makes up who we are at Saturday AM is featured here. Saturday AM, of course, is the world's most diverse manga anthology. We feature some of the most dynamic and interesting creators from around the world, as well as some of the most popular exclusive indie manga titles like Apple Black, Clock Striker, Massive Multiplayer World of Ghosts, and so on. So if you want to learn more, simply go to our website, www.saturday-am.com. You can partake by checking out the latest issues that we have across our various magazines, like Saturday AM, Saturday PM, which is built for older audiences, and Saturday Brunch, which is built for a more female-oriented audience. Likewise, we have a brand new app that you can use to get the most of your Saturday experience. And if you come to our website, of course, you can learn about all of our super fun series. You can get more details about them, the creators, and so on. So please check out our website. But if you want to check out the March Art Madness part, when you come to the website, you simply click March Art Madness, and it takes you to this particular page for 2022. Again, you can check out the previous rounds to see how we got here. And as you scroll down, you are met with the theme. This weekend's theme is all about solitaire cards. We want the creators to design their own solitaire cards. The reason we wanted this is because not only have we designed our own solitaire cards with a game called Flick Solitaire, you can get the Saturday AM deck and experience playing solitaire with our very cool characters and artists. But this year's prize, one of them will consist of some of the artists chosen from this week having a chance to design a brand new deck for Flick Solitaire, which is a popular game on iOS and Android. So we wanted a theme that would allow us to have a chance to see some of this talent, to see how these artists can comport themselves to not only creating fan art of some of the most popular characters in the worlds of video games and anime and superheroes, but likewise to be able to put it into a design format that really replicates what an effective solitaire card would look like. So again, we have 4 teams. They're all based off of some of the properties that you can find some of our most exciting series in: Saturday AM, Saturday PM, Saturday Brunch, and Saturday Afternoon, which is our brand new web manga experience where you can read comics just like you would on Webtoon or Tapas at a website we have called www.pilotmanga.com. But with these different teams, we started with 16 artists in each team. That takes you to 64. If you take 16 times 4, we're now down to the final 8. That means there are only 2 artists in each one of these teams, and each of these teams had a different theme that they had to do in addition to the solitaire card. They were tasked with designing 2 solitaire cards per team. So therefore, you're going to be looking at 4 pieces of art for every team. With that being said, let's get to our very first theme, Saturday AM. Their round 4 theme was to design a solitaire card with video game characters. So the question, of course, becomes, what characters did they choose, and what did they make their artwork look like? We had 2 incredible creators, one being ABD Illustrates from the United Kingdom, the other being Thirdphp from the Philippines. As we've done these review shows in the past, I'm going to call on one creator and then another creator, and then we'll have 2 separate creators review the other artists, and then we'll give our final votes for each matchup. So let's start this off. By the way, all of these, as you can imagine, as we get closer and closer to the final, these become harder and harder to judge, and this is no exception. This is one of easily the hardest that we've had for all of the matchups this week. So let's start off with ABD Illustrates from the United Kingdom. This artist chose to produce artwork based on Genshin Impact and design some playing cards for solitaire. They have a suit card, which is the ace, and they have a number card, which in this case is 2, but they're both of hearts. So a suit card being about hearts, and then ace and 2 are the 2 cards they chose to use. So with that being said, let me first start off here with Morgan. Morgan, what did you make of Design Sunset? Sorry, not Design Sunset, of ABD Illustrates artwork here?
So actually, I think the blue one is the spades. So they did spades and then they did hearts, but
Spades and hearts, correct.
Yeah, which I actually really appreciate, because I think in playing solitaire, I love playing solitaire on Flick Solitaire as well. It's really
There you
important to
go.
be able to distinguish between the 2 different colors that are used. It doesn't always have to be black and red, although that's traditional. So I really appreciate that ABD showcase both, because at a glance you can tell, okay, that's one color versus the other. So I think that's one of the first things in the cards that you want to look for. Obviously the artwork's very good. I didn't recognize these characters, but it's very well done, especially on the number 2 card where you've got this mirrored image. I think they did a really good job of doing that. And then lastly, I love that they incorporated the suits into the design. So in the sort of ribbon that's separating the 2 characters on the 2 card, it's the shape of a heart, and then you obviously see the character coming out of the spade on the other card. So all around, very well done.
Completely agree. Jackie, are you familiar? I know you are a gamer. Are you familiar with Genshin Impact? I know your husband is a gamer. Sorry.
Yeah, my husband's a gamer. I know enough about Genshin
Jackie.
Impact because I've seen. Oops, sorry, I'm muted again.
No,
um,
it's okay.
yeah, my husband's a gamer. I'm not so much of a gamer myself, but I do know Genshin Impact. I haven't played the game, so I'm not familiar with the series, but I've seen a lot of ads with Genshin Impact. And I know it's a very popular game. I will say I am very impressed with the colors and how well they did the cell shading. And I was listening to what Morgan had to say, and she really pointed out a lot of things about these pieces that I didn't really notice, such as the heart
Mm.
that's kind of dividing them. I didn't really think about that being a heart, but now I see it. Um, and then I also notice in the first card, the with the Ace of Spades. I don't know if that's supposed to be kind of a symbol in the background of like the game, like Genshin Impact. I don't know if that's something the artist just kind of randomly designed, but I feel like it matches the style of the video game. So like the this artist really took it up a notch when it came to design with this card. I do feel like maybe the only thing would be the background is just a plain white, so maybe I would have liked seeing something in the background. But that's just me being kind of nitpicky about it. I think this is a really good card design. It looks like a legit solitaire card, and it's really good. So
Okay. All right. Next up then is the opponent, and that is Third PHP from the Philippines. And let's see if this, here we go. All right. So I'm going to go to Tony Dawkins first. Tony, do you recognize these characters, and what do you make of this art?
Yeah, so I know on the left that's Peach, but if I'm not mistaken, I think on the right that's Sephiroth from what's it, Final Fantasy?
I'm pretty sure, based on the fact that the card is 7, I think, yeah, I
Yeah,
think he was going out pretty hard with it. But yeah. Mhm.
okay. But yeah, I really do like the art. The only thing is that I would have liked it to be a little bit more dynamic. I mean, it definitely works for the card, but especially, after looking at that previous card art, it just seemed a little bit more. It wasn't hyper dynamic, but the way that they stylized it, it had a lot more energy here. And while it's definitely amazing art, the colors are fire. I love the way that you have the highlights on the bottom that kind of reflect with the shadow on Peach, and then same thing with Sephiroth. But other than this is a really solid piece.
All right. And Jeffrey, what did you make of this?
Um, I really like the way that the shading is done. It's all very clean, but
Mhm.
also really gritty as well.
Mhm.
And then the amount of colors that are also used, like the radiant light that's there from the bottom, like that little bit of blue that's coming up with Peach. Um, and even with Sephiroth, there's a little bit of orange. I think my only thing is that I think it works a lot better as an illustration than it does as a card, because as there's this background that's really beautiful in the Queen of Hearts, I think it makes it a little bit too busy, and it makes it really good up close, but not as great from far away, and it makes it a
Mm.
little bit less readable as a card that you would play in solitaire.
I see. I
But I
see.
do think that both really solid works in general.
mhm.
Okay. All right. So, as usual, let me kind of give my thoughts collectively for both artists. So this is a really hard one, and we knew as we had gone through the weeks and we were seeing these artists continue to compete. We knew this was going to be a hard battle if it got down to these two. Both of them are very popular. They both have probably the biggest fan bases within the tournament on a personal basis for their individual properties. And both of them deserve it. They both have incredible talent. These are the sort of artists, there's nothing they can't do. So, as I've said often with March Art Madness, the key of March Art Madness is the choices that you make. Because there'll be artists who lack skills in certain areas or lack equipment, and therefore they can't maybe do different types of artwork. They only have a tablet, or they don't have all the software. They're using a bootleg software. They have markers. They don't have pens. So you're really seeing an artist have to choose what they do. They have to kind of take their shots where they can. And obviously the theme is always changing. Maybe some artists are really good at drawing women, and maybe not very good at drawing men. And then we give them something where they have to draw a man. So the event is such a good event because we challenge the artists to stretch and to meet the obstacle that they're facing. Both these artists are at the at the highest echelon. I mean, they're capable of doing anything artistically. Therefore, I think with this challenge, what was always going to come down to was the design. Like, how did they create the design? How did they incorporate the design? I was leaning more towards Thirdphp here because I think the illustrations are just different. Like, I mean, he's got Princess Peach there. I'm pretty sure he designed all those things with Princess Peach. Like, I don't follow Zelda or Mario, so I can't say this is Princess Peach. I assume it's Princess Peach just based on what I'm saying, but maybe it's not. But I feel like so much of the design of this character is original. I think that's really extraordinary. Sephiroth, of course, is very iconic. So what he's dressed as is what he's dressed as. But taking the character in this particular pose, having the armor really stand out and really be unique, I think is just super impressive. I mean, like you can see the material of the shoulder pieces. Sorry, the shoulder pieces. You can see the material of it. You can see the color differentiation just to kind of reflect that those straps that are holding everything together on his shirt are leather. You can make out the thread and the sword. I mean, there's so much fine detail in both of these illustrations that, to me, the weakest part is the design. The design, to me, just doesn't capture the efficacy, as Morgan said earlier, of what a design looks like. Now, I'm not going to get into the busyness of it, obviously, because these are trading cards under the ideal situation. If you have a trading card for a mobile game, for example, like Flick Solitaire, then you have to be very mindful of those things with the cards, because obviously the cards are going to be much smaller on your screen depending on what type of screen you have. But if these cards are printed and you get to hold them in your hand, then obviously the full breadth of the card is visible, and unless your sight is not very good. And so from that standpoint, I think that these are in my opinion, these are more interesting cards. But the challenge, of course, comes down to, again, the heart and how prominent the heart is, the number and how prominent the number is. And I think here, of course, he was going for, again, the cuteness of the fact this is Final Fantasy VII. I'm not sure what the icon is for the heart. If you guys know, I'd love to hear it. But I don't know what that icon is for the Princess Peach character. I don't know. It's a queen. Okay, so again, like it's a tough one because it's not clear it's a queen. Having you want uniformity, and it's not very uniform between these two cards for the spade and for the heart. Obviously, they're two different cards, but even then, like even the pattern is different. This is more, the Princess Peach one is more kind of loose, and only the font is loose for the 7 on the Sephiroth card. So that was one of my critiques of the card. With the ABD illustration, I'm kind of with everyone else. Like I find the artwork on Thirdphp's cards to be more engaging and more interesting because there is more stuff going on with them and there's more detail put into the characters. But that in no way is meant to shortchange what ABD Illustrates has done consistently since they've been in the tournament. They have always brought the equal balance of quality, design, and layouts. And I think that when you look at the artwork here is impeccable. I mean, it's great illustrations of the character. I'm particularly happy with the number 2 card, as Morgan pointed out, because I love the fact that you have this effect. We're going to see some other artists do this effect, though, where they basically said, hey, I don't feel comfortable putting a background into this and everything. I don't feel comfortable putting all this stuff in the card, but I do want to have a more interesting image in the card. So I'm going to really localize everything in the center of the card. I'm going to then put together a scenario where you get to see one version of the character, another version of the character. And I just think that that's a really cool idea. And this artist executed it perfectly with the way that they incorporated the heart and the spade in the first card with the ace. So, to me, these are very close. Both these artists are really great. I was leaning towards Thirdphp, but again, when you just look at the complete success of what ABD Illustrates has done artistically, design-wise, the layout is really clever and is using the proper space. I know Jackie had indicated that, it's on a white background, but again, if it's a trading card, if it's a playing card, typically it's going to be on a white background. Like, I like their PHP's backgrounds being filled in, but again, if it's a card, you have to be mindful that the card itself, the suit and the number or the type of card are very clear. And in this case, again, ABD Illustrates just nails all of that. So my vote's going to be to ABD Illustrates for this, even though I'm a big fan of Thirdphp and I love what they did. I felt they lost it for me on the design part itself. What say you, Jackie? Who do you think won this round?
Oh man, I was gonna ask if you could call me last. um,
I'll come back to you then. I can come back to you then.
okay.
Jeffrey, who do you think won this round?
I'm kind of leaning a bit more towards ABD, mostly just because of.
We gotta make a choice, folks. We gotta make a choice. So, give me your, say who you're, you can say I'm leaning this person, but you gotta give a vote. So I'd rather you just say, hey, I'm going to choose this person, and here's why. Let's do it that way.
Okay, so I'm choosing ABD, mostly because of the clean line work, but also the overall design of the card resonates more with me a bit more. I just have to discredit Thirdphp. It's just, I think it works a lot better as a card.
Yeah, no, Thirdphp is, again, like I said, I think his art is stronger in my opinion. It's bolder. It's got more detail to it. But yeah. Tony.
I'm also gonna have to say ABD. It's strictly for the the design, a lot more uniform on both of the cards, and again, Thirdphp they brought it. They definitely brought that super awesome coloring style, but for the design purposes, ABD.
All right, Morgan, ABD or Thirdphp?
I would give it to ABD Illustrates for pretty much the same reason that everyone else has mentioned: clarity, uniformity, and obviously very well done illustration and design.
All right, Jackie, ABD Illustrates or Thirdphp?
I'm gonna have to give it to Thirdphp just because to me, when I first look at both of these cards, Thirdphp kind of stands out more to me as more interesting and eye catching to look at. Like if I look at ABDs from far away, I don't really see a whole lot of the design aspects, and I think it's partly because of the yellow. Like in one of the cards, a lot of it is like a lighter color, so I don't see kind of like the backgrounds like popping out at me. So, even though like I agree with all of you, like in terms of it looking like a card and the design, like ABD is stronger. But I think when it comes to it just being exciting right off the bat and catching my eye, I would have to give it to Thirdphp.
Well, listen. I don't disagree with anything you just said. I think Thirdphp is a hell of a competitor. Again, I think for me, had the design been a bit more uniform and a bit stronger in terms of being able to see exactly what the cards are and so forth. Because again, it is the challenge for this week is solitaire card. It's not you just do a cool piece of art. It's make a solitaire card that's cool. And so from that standpoint, that's just where I lost with Thirdphp. But I agree with everything you said. The artwork is so bold, it's so beautiful, it's so detailed. I mean, he's obviously a rock star. But ABD Illustrates is one as well, and so I think both of them brought it in this round. But ABD Illustrates to me just kind of got that clarity just enough to make that work. So with that being said, ABD Illustrates has the edge right now on judges' votes. Now, folks, that does not mean ABD Illustrates wins. And again, you guys can make the difference in all of this by voting. So if you come to the site, just remember to scroll down. You see right here, vote for your favorites, and it takes you to the spot for you to go and vote. And we'd love to see what your votes are for ABD Illustrates versus Thirdphp, the United Kingdom versus the Philippines, folks. You can make it happen. So let us know who that would be so we can get all of these updated by tomorrow and have our final 4 artists. So give me a second here. I'm just making some notes. We try to make notes of this. We can make sure we know what we have. All right. Okay. And folks, there'll be some other judge votes that we have. Not everyone obviously is here. We just have 5 people here. Just FYI as well, the judges' votes for this round are counting higher. In the past weeks, we've done 10 points. These are all 30 points per. Not to mention, artists got extra credit. They got their work in early. So there will be a number of judges' votes that will be there. And we're hoping that those votes will help to counter some of the fan votes, because these are two very popular artists. We want to make sure that we have appropriate level of balance between the fan votes and the company votes. So with that being said, I do expect to see some real swings here at the judge votes, but we'll see if that makes a difference. So please go vote for Team Saturday AM to see who the winner of this team will be, and compete in the final round next week. Will it be ABD Illustrates with this Genshin Impact Solitaire card artwork, or will it be Thirdphp with his artwork here of Princess Peach and Sephiroth for his card designs? Let us know by voting. Next up is Team Saturday PM. Their theme, again, solitaire cards, but it was Disney Plus in particular. So these are all shows that have appeared on Disney Plus. So as a result of that, we've got an artist from Jamaica and an artist from the United States. The artist from Jamaica is named Design Sunset, and they brought us a Hawkeye card set with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop from the TV show. Let's start off with Morgan on this one. Morgan, what did you make of this piece?
Well, I think like a lot of Design Sunset's work, they do a really good job of weaving, dynamic character design with sort of simple shapes. In this case, there are a lot of circles, which I think works well with the character that they went with, or the show that they went with, which is Hawkeye. So kind of imitating the target. So very good job of incorporating the concept into the design. Again, a little disappointed that they chose two of the same suits. They chose the spades, although I appreciate that they incorporated an arrow into that. So kind of similar to the last group, kind of weaving the suits into the concept. The two is probably a little less successful to me than the Jack card, just because it's very busy with the shapes, the spades, and what I'm assuming is, I don't know, two arrows firing into each other. It's a cool effect, but it's probably not as effective as, say, the other card, where the character art it's really well done. It's very compelling, and I love the colors and that one in particular. But again, very nice to see the theme. It would have been nice to see some of the other suit cards, to see if it was Hawkeye throughout the whole deck, or if they tried something a little different.
Certainly see what you're talking about. Let me go to Jeffrey John Luis. Jeffrey, what did you make of this?
A lot of my opinions are about the same as Morgan's. The two of spades is just a little bit disappointing because there's not too much going on, but the Jack of spades is stunning. Like the colors, the design, like the composition, the way that they're posed, they all really work well, especially like these little dashes of green that are in Kate's hair. I really like when there's little stuff like that. And then the lighting too is also really, really solid. I just wish that the two of spades had something more to look at. It's a cool effect. It's just there's not much I can say about it. But yeah, Jack of Spades is really
good. Understood. All right. That's Design Sunset from Jamaica. We have T-Brow art from the United States here, and I'm going to start with you, Tony Dawkins. What do you make of these?
These I thought were really, really awesome. Both of them are really solid pieces. I would have liked that, maybe there was some sort of outline or just something to make the symbol of the suit a bit more clear. The design of it and the font and whatnot, that stuff is fine, but just something to make it pop out a little bit more. But really, really love the colors. I really, really love, all the effects. I like how the king, you have it just like a normal illustrated suit, how if you flip it around, it'll still, look the same. So really, really nice job.
Jackie, what did you make of this, of these cards?
So I think this one in particular, T-Brow art kind of I take his art, like I compare his art with Thirdphp, because I kind of feel like they're both very similar in terms of producing these very super rendered images with like that kind of manga feel. And I really like it with T-Brow's art. I think this is very well rendered. The images and the illustrations are very striking, and it's very cool to look at. Now, I would say, in terms of illustration, the way they kind of blackened the background, where you see the six and the king. I think in terms of illustration, it works, and it works good because the artist wants you to focus on the illustrations, not so much the background. However, I also think it's a problem because if you're playing solitaire, like on the app Flick Solitaire, and you're trying to see the numbers and see the like the king, the six, the two, if you're having to squint your eyes to just identify what the symbols are, that's going to be a problem for you when you're playing the game. So, in terms of design, I think it's a problem having it kind of dark like that, but in terms of it being like a good illustration, it works. So, those are just kind of my thoughts on that. But both this one and the previous one were very good. Um, yeah, yeah. So that's just what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I'll say that this is very similar to the team that we just reviewed, Team Saturday AM. You've got a highly skilled designer type of artist in the sense of Design Sunset and then ABD Illustrates in the previous one. And then you have two artists that are exceptional at rendering. Like they can put together, characters that are just completely compelling from the get-go. Like it's not per se about how it fits into the scene. Everything about the character just is raw, like dynamism and awesome, and you really get caught up in it. I mean, this is really quality stuff from T-Bro Art. This is really exciting stuff. The negative, of course, yes, is that this is the part about March Madness again, the tournament, is that this is about challenging artists, and I think as we made it very clearly, this is about the design part of it as well. And I think that you can tell some artists where they put together stuff and they've clearly got a great idea and they've clearly worked really hard on the rendering part, and they kind of phone it in, so to speak, on the design part. And I feel like here, he could have gone with any backdrop to make this be an effective card design. Having the super darkened backdrop, it might help the character stuff pop, but it doesn't really lend itself to being a very interesting design. There are little things that I do love. I love the symmetry of the Mandalorian with the spade. I love the clover, six of clover for what's his name, Goku, or what's that character's name? Ragu, Yoda Jr. I love the fact that Yoda Jr. This is a six of clubs, and he's got six things he's levitating. Like I love some of the clever pieces that were done. I just feel like the design part was completely phoned in, because this even by the standards of like middling design, this is not a great design. The font is not great. The image for the spades are not particularly, or the club is not particularly like interesting. They're just kind of like bitmap type stuff. So this is a tricky challenge here. But I do think the rendering here, because of how specific it is, what Thirdphp did was go full. He went full bleed with it. So the artwork just went right off the canister, right off the canvas. I mean, with this one, I give T-Brow some credit for localizing it. He localized it. He didn't try to put it all over the place. He localized it, and that allowed the art to really work and not feel too over the top in terms of design. So it's a shame that the design for the the outer side of it, where he's got the chance to make sure you know what card is. It's a shame that these are just darkened and kind of like not great fonts. When we go to Design Sunset's been a winner throughout the entire tournament. Wonderful design work, incredible. Again, just like ABD Illustrates, like really skilled across the board. Great character art, great layouts, great design. Always has a sense of just like a really high quality piece of content. I agree with everybody that the number 2 card was very deflating because there's just not much happening there. But that Jack card is everything. And again, you see here a theme with all the creators thus far, with ABD Illustrates, with Design Sunset, with the one we just looked at here, T-Brow, that they understood the assignment enough to say, hey, this is going to be a solid, and you therefore have to have on the outskirts, you got to have the card type really clear for people who are playing the game. So they understood that to make artwork that was compelling, they would have to localize it in the center. So they went for that very vertical artwork, not horizontal. Only so far Third PHP was the only one who really went horizontal with it. He went just, from on both sides of the container. But this, they really kept the artwork localized. So they went with Kate Spade at the top and Hawkeye at the bottom. It's just a really good visual. It's a good visual layout. It's a good visual design sense. But that number 2 card is just, I mean, I know what they're going for, like everybody else. It doesn't speak to me at all. So for me, ultimately, this was a tough one. I ultimately chose T-Brow art because, again, what I felt like T-Brow art did here, even though what he did on the outer elements of the design was, I think, phoned in and not very clever, not really a strong attempt. At least, what they did was give us 2 really solid pieces of artwork, and the card design is it's not offensive. It's just not great. Whereas with Design Sunset, this is an incredible card design that only one of them really is interesting, and the other one is just not particularly interesting. I'm not saying this artist phoned it in. It's just not as clever or as interesting as I think they thought it was. So for me, ultimately, I'm just, while the design here is amazing, it's one design that's amazing, and then one card that's really well done. Whereas with this one, with T-Brow, it's a design that's not great. It's okay. It's not great, but it's 2 really well rendered illustrations. Again, the Grogu Yoda one, where he's got 6 rocks and it's a 6 of colors. That's clever. I like that. I think that was again, showed some level of design sensibility that he just didn't pull together at the end of it. But still, he did make some great attempts, and the rendering is just next level. This is next level rendering. So that's my thought. Again, I think there's more of a sense here of how to render a card than what was done with Third PHPs, where I think he went a bit too clever with it. But with this one, I think he just wasn't clever enough, but he certainly was competent. So my vote here is for T-Brow art as opposed to Design Sunset, even though I think Design Sunset's amazing. Morgan, which way do you vote on this?
I feel like I'm still debating, but I think in the end I would also give it to T-Brow art. I feel bad because Design Set had a really great Jack card, but the 2 card, if you have the opportunity to do 2 designs, I feel a little disappointed that they not only chose the same suit, but the 2 is just not as it's underwhelming. So T-Brow, I think, both could be collectible cards for sure. I think Design Set, I think both of them could be playable on Flick Solitaire as well. Maybe T-Brow would require a little bit more design editing, but ultimately I think that they provided 2 actual good cards and looked at 2 different suits as well, even though they're the same color.
Yeah, agreed. What about Jeffrey?
It's so hard. But my vote is going to Design Sunset.
Okay.
Even though it's that 2 just doesn't work, I'm really appreciating the more painterly take on this whole thing as well. It feels really different in comparison to some of the other contestants that are in this round, just because it doesn't use any bold lines really at all. It's mostly just shapes, and I think I appreciate that just a little bit more. Even though T-Brow's just the illustration is much better, it's just that design falls a little bit flat. That's the only thing. But yeah.
Okay, Jackie, what about you?
I think just kind of echoing your guys' thoughts too. I agree. I think Design Sunset, I think I would have loved to see like characters on the number 2 card. Now that I think about it, I think kind of part of the intention was when you look at a regular deck of cards, the numbers card is going to be very basic. Like you're only going to see the symbols and the numbers, but then you look at the king, the queen, the joker, and they have this design. They have pictures of someone. I think that might have been what this artist was trying to do. He was trying to make it look like the number card was more of a simpler design because that's how solitaire cards are kind of made, and then the other card would be more designed and complete because that's how the kings and the queens and stuff are. So I think that might have been what the artist was going for. However, what their opponent chose, I think overall is just stronger. I think it's they chose to do illustrations for both cards. I think the illustrations are a little bit they pop a little bit more for me. I would have probably given my vote to Design Sunset had there been more to look at on the number 2 card, but I'm gonna have to give it to T-Brow.
Yeah, no, there's no question. It had Design Sunset chosen a different card design, I think, for number 2. You know, something getting clever with a character or something of that nature. It would have been more. It would have been more compelling because it is. You know, you're looking at something that is very well designed, but doesn't lack and doesn't have quite the same oomph in terms of character. And you're looking at a piece that the design is inoffensive. It's not great. It's just inoffensive, meaning that it's just not very interesting, but it's not. It's there. I mean, like there's a design that's there. But as opposed, and it's consistent as opposed to again Thirdphp stuff. But the character rendering is just, I mean, it's just fantastic. You can't beat the character rendering. So, yeah, it's an interesting contest in this one. But I do get your point on that. Tony, you're the last one up. What do you make of this? T-Brow art or Design Sunset?
I'm gonna have to go with T-Brow art. I just think that, again, echoing what everybody else said about Design Sunset's number 2 card. I think this is just one of those examples where, the Jack, and because you've shown us what you can do and how good it can be, it's almost to his detriment that the number 2 doesn't, complement it as well. Whereas, while there's design issues with T-Brow's piece, they feel a little bit more, complete in terms of you have 2 complete images as opposed to just one. And the other one that I get what they were trying to go for with, being a little bit more simplistic and having the spades being a bit more, I mean, kind of being like arrows clashing into each other. But ultimately, I think it just leaves a little bit to be desired. So I'm going to go with T-Brow.
Understood. All right. Well, folks, as of right now, we have judges' votes here. We have, just like in the last Team Saturday AM just now, we had 4 for ABD Illustrates and 1 for Thirdphp. For this one, we have 4 for T-Brow art, and we have 1 for Design Sunset. Folks, again, we will have more of our judges from Saturday AM voting, so all of their votes count 30 points, including ours. So we'll see where this goes. But at the end of the day, you can vote right now and up until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight by coming to this website, www.saturday-am.com/madness. And as you scroll down to each one of the teams, you will see the link to go vote, and it'll take you to the proper location to put your vote in. Folks, you will have to vote for the entire survey. You have to make sure you answer every question in the survey for your vote to be considered. And we will be checking a number of things to make sure the votes are legitimate. Sometimes we have people who come in to just kind of flood it for one person. So we will be doing things to make this round more competitive, as we've noticed in the past, that the votes have been good. And we want to make sure that this one is more even since we have some artists who are very popular. So again, the judges' votes here will be counting for much more points, and there will be more judges voting besides ourselves. So this one will come down to the wire for all these guys, but you can help swing that. Every vote matters. So make sure you tell your friends and family, you go to our website and you hit this button and vote after you look at all this beautiful artwork. All right, folks, so we got 2 more teams to go, but while we're going to take a quick break, and I do want to tell you guys about Flick Solitaire. Now, again, as I indicated, Flick Solitaire is a fantastic game where you can play solitaire and you can have different artists as part of the deck. So it's a really amazing experience for anyone who loves solitaire, anyone who loves independent art. You're able to go in and try different artists. These artists are all very interesting. They come from different places around the world. Flick is a small team out of the UK. So if you are based in Europe, you want to support indie game developers in your area, please make sure you check out Flick Solitaire. Or if you're just someone who loves to see very amazing artists from around the world, again, you want to try Flick Solitaire. This is a very fun version of Solitaire, folks, with amazing flick abilities. We can use your finger to really kind of flick the cards. It's got some great audio, great visuals, and again, amazing artists who are participating in every card deck. Every card deck that you get is going to feel unlike the other card deck. So while there are lots of solitaire games out there, Flick is easily one of the most attractive. And if you want to see what the Saturday AM deck looks like, I would like to show that to you real quickly because we designed all 52 cards for our deck. So our deck is absolutely chock full of fantastic art. So let me pull up ours. I thought I had it up here, but I didn't. So bear with me a second while I try to pull up our game, and then I can show it to you guys here. It's gonna be very fun. I can assure you, you guys are gonna love it. Let's see where it's at here. All right. I hope we're gonna find it. Where's this thing at? Where the heck is
How far did you get in the game, Fred?
I've gotten very far. I play it every day. I play it every day. That's been true for quite some time. I literally play it every day.
That's cool.
Here we go. All
I
right.
can't I think I could get to like level 30, but I have such a hard time getting past that.
Oh yeah, I'll have to pull it up and see what level I'm at. That part I don't know. All right, folks, let me show you the screen for God's sake, so you guys can see our card game. You can't probably hear the audio, but it's very fun. I'm probably sure. So there you go, folks. So, folks, I do hope you guys will check out Flick Solitaire. They've been an amazing friend and partner to us. You can go to their website at flick.games and download it onto your Google Android device or your Apple device from the Apple App Store. And again, folks, there will be select participants of this year's March Art Madness who will participate in a brand new deck that we're developing for Flick Solitaire. So we're really excited about that, and we hope that you'll continue to support hopefully one of your favorite artists or one of your favorite countryman or woman by checking out the Flick Solitaire deck that they may appear in. We'll get more details on that in our final round, which is next week. But in the meantime, please do us a favor, check out flick.games and go download a free app called Flick Solitaire so you can play this really cool version of Solitaire. Check out, choose any deck you want. Hopefully you would choose Saturday's deck, but choose any deck and have a chance to check out these really amazing artists and this really fun, socially conscious company. We'd appreciate it. We thank you for your support of our Saturday brand in that level. I also want to tell you guys about our graphic novel program. You guys may have heard, but we have recently partnered with Quarto Group. This is a multi-million-dollar, multinational corporation that has been publishing books for some time. We had a fantastic partnership with them that we struck recently in the last year. And we recently announced that we're going to start a multi-year graphic novel program with them, taking some of our most popular series from our digital manga magazines and putting them into collected graphic novel versions, just like they do in Japan with Dragon Ball and Naruto and My Hero Academia. So you'll be able to find some of our most popular series in this format. We've announced the first 9 books that we're working on. We have a final book that we're announcing and showing artwork for soon. But you can go to our website. You can hit the link at the very top here for graphic novel. It'll take you to this fantastic page here where you can literally check out some of these series. We have Apple Black, Volume 1 by the one and only White Manga. We have Hammer, Volume 1 by Jay Oden. Saigami, Volume 1 by Cine. Folks, these have been remastered. So if you've seen these books in the past, they do not count. These books have been remastered, re-lettered, re-illustrated, or some new artwork added in some cases, in every case, sorry. And we've got some incredible production value. We've got new types of paper that we're using. We're really excited for the production of these books. We also have a How to Draw a Diverse Manga book. So here you'll be able to get some really expert advice from people like White Manga and Jay Oden and Saka Galadima on how to create your own diverse manga character. Oblivion Rouge from Pop Soleil Fall comes out in July. Massively multiplayer World of Ghosts will be coming out soon from myself and Oscar Fong. We have Titan King Volume 1 from the one and only Tony Dawkins. And we have Yellow Stringer from Jeffrey Jean-Louis and myself. And I want to first go to Tony Dawkins here and ask Tony about Titan King. Tony, what can you say about Titan King?
All I can say is that I'm really excited for this new version to come out, and the updated story, lots of brand new artwork, a lot more focus to certain characters. All I can say is that you guys are going to be blown away by some of the new stuff that's going to be inside of there, and I'm super excited to get this to you guys.
Really fun series, folks. Titan King, folks, is absolutely fun. It is balls to the wall action with a really manga style young character named Eli Santos, who's actually from the country of Honduras. Again, Saturday AM is the home of diverse manga. He gets abducted and taken to this alien tournament where people from around the universe or galaxy that is are fighting with these giant titans to see who's the winner, which of course can turn the fate of the world or the universe, I mean, depending on who wins. So Eli gets abducted and has to fight in this tournament. He is fortunately for the bad guys, Eli is a man that has a lot to prove and is willing to do what's right when everything is said and done. So really, really, really action-packed series. Great art from Tony Dawkins, and I think you guys are going to love this. It's perfect for people who love Dragon Ball and love big monster titles. So definitely something worth checking out. And of course, if you go to the site and you click on Titan King or any of the titles, you'll see here, of course, where you can pre-order the book already. Likewise, Yellow Stringer. Jeffrey, you want to talk a little bit about Yellow Stringer?
Yeah. Sorry. All I can say is I'm really thankful for Fred coming in to get this series to where it needed to be, because it was a bit rough in the beginning, but with this volume, this new artwork, there's a bit some story adjustments, a lot of dialogue changes, all those kind of things. It's going to be a really grand way to look at Yellow Stringer after all these years. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these two goofball zany adventures.
Yeah, this is folks. This is a great series. This is built for a slightly older reader, but this is just a really, really, really fun series. If you ever seen X-Files, if you ever watched things like Supernatural on TV, this kind of has the same dynamic of two characters who are thrust into this situation where they're having to go up against or learn about or investigate the supernatural. We frame it around news. So these are two journalists. One's an ex-cop and one is a promising or alumni of a big journalism school called Columbia University. And both of them have decided to work on this ratty newspaper called the Yellow Stringer, where they're investigating these supernatural crimes, which sound like jokes, but they're actually real. So no one takes them seriously. Their friends and family can't believe they're doing this, but they know the truth, and they want to make sure that you know the truth. And so the stories are really interesting. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. And I think that if you love a bit of more mature humor and action and story, then you'll like Yellow Stringer. So this is some fantastic stuff here, as is Titan King, as is Apple Black, and Saigami, and Hammer, and Master Multiplayer World of Ghosts, and so on. So again, folks, go to our website, www.saturday-am.com, hit the graphic novel button, and then be taken to the page here where you can then get more information about the graphic novels and the creators. And if you want to buy it or pre-order it, you can do so right there with links to all the different stores currently that are carrying these books. Folks, we want this to be a really, really popular event. Therefore, we really need you guys to come in and support it. We've already gotten some amazing articles from journalists. We've got some great reviews as well of the books already. So we're feeling really good about this, but we're going to need you guys to step in and just help us be a part of this whole thing and bring these cards to life. So we suspect you guys will like what we're doing. Again, we just want you guys to give us a chance, check everything out when when the opportunity provides. We're going to have an update on our website soon that will detail a bit more about how to get some prizes when you pre-order the book. So there's a lot of stuff here you can get. This VIP pack if you pre-order the book. Likewise, we've got some really awesome trading cards that we're working on. These are amazing trading cards. So again, if you guys want to experience this, please let us know. All you got to do is go to our website, check out the information, check out our social media, because there's some really fun things coming soon. But this deck of trading cards we have are amazing. You don't want to miss them. So please make sure you come check out our trading card and get information on pre-ordering the books today. So with that being said, you can see here some of the trading cards. Please make sure you go pre-order our books to qualify for your exclusive trading cards, illustrated by people like White Manga, Jay Oden, Oscar Fong, Jeffrey John Luis, Tony Dawkins, and more. Make sure you can check out these trading cards. You can qualify to get a free pack of trading cards for every book you pre-order. So please make sure you get the details on that, and we'll be updating it for more details soon. All right. Go back to the tournament here, round 4. The theme is creating solitaire cards. Next up is Team Saturday Brunch. The round 4 theme was design solitaire cards featuring DC Comics superheroes. So that's, of course, Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman. All of them, by the way, have new versions of those characters for a new generation called 5G. So really excited about that. And these artists chose to create some of their favorite DC Comics characters. The battle here between Brazil and Italy. Eric Pedrucci is from Brazil, and Maxpattarelli is from Italy. Both these artists are incredibly talented, and so let's see what they came up with here. So the first one here is from Eric Pedrucci. One card is Batman, and one card is Wonder Woman. I'm going to go to Jeffrey Jean Louis to give me his thoughts on these cards.
So I'm just absolutely in love with both of these. The line work is just so clean on both of them, as well as the colors, and I think the design already speaks for itself as well, especially with the way that the bats are flying out on the spades as well. I think maybe my only thing is that I wish Wonder Woman's card maybe had a bit more of color treatment to it, like Batman does. Whereas like Batman goes red and blue. It's still a really good coloring. I kind of just wish it had a little bit more of that like thought put into it. But otherwise, I think it's a really, really solid card.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. We'll go to Jackie next. Jackie, what did you make of this?
I kind of had the same reaction as I did with these cards as with ABD Illustrates. I think the design of both of these cards is really good. It definitely looks like a card. It functions well as a card. And the drawings themselves are very good as well. Like it's rendered well. There's really not any like anatomy issues I'm seeing. I think it's really good, and I'd have to say probably it's just a me thing really. I like seeing stuff in the background, as long as it doesn't make the image too busy. But I think I would have liked to see something just in the background, not have it be like a blank white background. But that's just more me being nitpicky about it. I do think this is a very strong piece, so it was great job.
All right. Okay. Let's go to the next interview. Again, this was Eric Pedrucci from Brazil. Next up, we have Maxpattarelli from Italy. Both these artists have been amazing throughout the tournament. So we have a sort of somewhat similar idea here, but obviously very different. So let me first start off with Tony Dawkins, who by the way, I can't help but say that I see that Tony has his camera on now. And I think what people are going to recognize here with Tony is, as I indicated before, Tony has a quality that I can best describe as if you guys seen the rapper 50 Cent, it's Tony has this quality. We've nicknamed him internally 25 Cent. And then Cedric the Entertainer. There's a lot of Cedric the Entertainer there. Raymond Brown is of course not happy about this because Raymond has long been our Cedric the Entertainer person, but Tony is I would say Tony's on that level with 50 Cent, as well as on my personally. When I see Tony, I had the pleasure. I met Tony actually in Chicago. We did a trading show there. We did a Comic-Con there, And what Tony struck me as is if you guys have ever seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Andy Samberg, I think Tony's a sweet guy, and he reminds me a lot of Doug Judy, played by Craig Robinson. If you guys ever seen Doug Judy, then you know that Doug Judy just wants to make the world smush, and that's a lot of what Tony brings to the table. I think Tony, deep down, he didn't care about Titan King. He cares that you guys smush. That's what his biggest thing is. So Tony, please tell us about Maxpattarelli's card. What'd you make of this, sir?
Yeah. Thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome.
But as for the card, man, these are really, really cool. I really love that Batman piece where it's got that, duality of, Bruce. And it's actually kind of cool because I'm not sure if that's, supposed to be at night or dusk, but I like what I'm assuming is one is dusk and the other one is dawn. The only thing that I probably would have liked is that the cards were a little bit more uniform in design. I think the artwork is phenomenal, but just making it so that the design was a little bit more consistent. But yeah, this is a really nice piece.
Yeah, I certainly understand what you're saying. And Morgan, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this was a bit of a struggle. I like how Harley Quinn was rendered.
Yeah.
The coloring, the shading. I really don't like what is going. Like, I don't really understand what if she's sitting on something or what that's supposed to be. This sort of dark shape. But I can really appreciate the effort with like the anatomy and the perspective that they're going for, trying to show if you were to flip this card, which is very typical in solitaire cards. The background for both of these, I think, is just not very well done, or it's very confusing. Some of the choices that they made, and like Tony said, that it doesn't seem like they're from the same deck, other than the theme, which is Batman in this case. I think overall, it just felt like they had a lot of different ideas, but didn't execute them consistently between the two cards. And maybe there was only one or two successes in some of the design choices that they made.
My thoughts. First of all, I couldn't agree more. I mean, to me, this was one of the matchups that I thought was fairly simple for me. And again, that's not to say that any of these were easy, but this was probably the easier of the four that we're reviewing today. I can agree with Morgan more. I mean, when I remember looking at this deck, this particular presentation from Maxpattarelli, and I just the Harley Quinn one is rendered so well. That face is so expressive and engaging, and just like the coloring of it, like everything about it is just so dynamic and cool. Yes, there's some strangeness with the body, but again, they're going for that thing I talked about, which you see a lot throughout this tournament, of people recognizing, what, this is the way a solitaire card is. So I've got to localize the image in the center. That piece is fantastic to me. I mean, again, yes, there's some issues about the legs and what that purple shape is and so forth, but for the most part, I think the rendering is just so incredible for that, as well as her holding a card. I think that's just fantastic. So, I mean, there's so much here that I like. The Batman piece, I love the concept of it. What bothered me the most with the Batman piece, and for me, ultimately, where I had to vote against Maxpattarelli in this case, was the fact that, again, this comes back to what we've been talking about, I think, throughout today's show with Jackie, which is where I don't think backgrounds are necessary for these type of cards. I like if you have them, but then that means you got to just have a strong sense of what your design is going to be for the suit and the number and all those things. And I think in this one, it just seemed like the same way I felt like with Thirdphp, where I felt like he decided later, and T-Brow, frankly. They decided, they had an idea of what they wanted to do with the card suit. They kind of decided on that after the illustration. Like there wasn't like a sense of, I want this entire thing to be an example of what my idea of a card is. Instead, it seemed, and I could be wrong here, obviously, but it seemed that was more driven by, I want to draw this, and then I'll figure out how to make it a card later. Whereas ABD illustrates, again, to their credit, they went into it with the idea of, I'm going to design a card. That's evident. Same with Design Sunset. It was evident that they went into it deciding I'm going to make a solitaire card, and then I'll figure out what the image is going to be. So both of them have their pros and cons, both theories, artwork first or design first. They both have their pros and cons, but the reality is that we're judging you on the whole thing. We're judging you on the whole mix. And for this one, while the Harley Quinn piece is rendered so well, the Batman piece is like a letterboxed image, and it completely just throws me off. Like, why is this letterboxed? Like, what's the point of this being letterboxed? And again, if it's to salvage the edges of the card to allow you to have the number and the suit, then that number and suit better be compelling. You better have a rationale for that, because otherwise it just looks like a piece of artwork you had that you put into the middle of a card and just threw like kind of a generic design with it, and it really hurts the identity of this piece. Even though, again, the concept was fantastic. Bruce Wayne by day, Batman, at night. Harley Quinn piece again. You got psychotic Harley Quinn. There's some strangeness there with the body proportions, but it still works. It's rendered so well. The backdrop is not great. It doesn't add anything to it. It seems, again, kind of tacked on, and therefore it kind of loosens the power of how good that image is. But again, what kills it for me is the Queen is just not compelling at all. It's just completely not compelling. And so you're just kind of like stuck with like this just looks like a standard font that they found, as does the number 10 on the other card. And then the heart is just kind of this weird little image. So, and there's no suit, by the way, not that I can tell, on the Harley Quinn card. So this one, the design for me just really, really did not speak to me on any level for this. Whereas this one is rendered great. It's rendered really, really well. I mean, let's start with the fact that the Wonder Woman, the gold. By the way, this is the new version of Wonder Woman, which I also have to give some credit for, because this means this artist, who's, by the way, is from Brazil. They might not be getting the latest DC Marvel comics. I mean, I assume they do. I don't know, but they had to research. We talk a lot about in this tournament that you're going to be asked to draw something you do not know, and that means you need to go research. This artist researched what the new Wonder Woman looked like. He then matched it. By the way, the new Wonder Woman is Brazilian, so he investigated it. He got the general idea of what this character is meant to look like, and he then brought that character to life. The armor that she's sporting is shiny, and the gold stands out. The pattern in the backdrop with the little stars and so forth are part of the pattern that Wonder Woman typically has, just like the pattern with Batman has the bats breaking off. I'm not necessarily in love with the suit and the number design, like the 2 font and the K font doesn't really speak to me, but it does speak to me in the context that these are just really like there's a thought here about the design. There's a thought here about the rendering. They had to investigate exactly what they were going to do and then bring it to life. And I felt like this artist did that and did it well. This is a really, really well done piece. They had to really concentrate on it. They had to localize the art while still giving the artwork dimension for the design of the card. This to me is just a standout piece. For me, a big vote for Eric Pedrucci in this matchup. Jackie, what did you make of this matchup? Who did you vote for?
So my vote will be for Eric Pedrucci. I just think they really thought about going into this. They really thought, okay, how am I gonna set this up to look like a card? How am I gonna make it interesting? Like, how am I gonna incorporate these images? Like, I think they really thought about doing that, and it shows. The rendering is very well. Now, for Maxpattarelli, I think the rendering for the both its 2 images are really well, like equally. Both of these artists are very strong artists. However, this piece doesn't look like a card for me. Like it kind of, particularly not so much for the Harley Quinn one, but more for the Batman piece. I feel like they just kind of made this image and then they just copy pasted it and then just put some fonts on like the side. If those fonts weren't there, you would just be left with an image. Like almost no design is there like that resembles a card. So
Right.
that would be my thing. I think if Maxpattarelli would have taken it and thought about, okay, how can I make this look more like a card, I think I probably would have given my vote to him. I do think the Harley Quinn is very strong and I love it. My only
Mhm,
issue with the
mhm.
Harley Quinn is it's kind of confusing because like the anatomy kind of looks like it's all like mixed up together. Um, so that those
So yeah, I was gonna say we have to move along here because
yeah,
time is tight, and you.
okay,
So I get it. You're just basically saying everything I just said. So, folks, if you're gonna say the same thing I just said, say I agree with you, because
yeah,
otherwise, at that, like, we don't have time to just say the exact same thing over and over again. And I don't mean to be rude. But we time is tight, so let's move on here. So your votes for Eric Pedrucci.
yeah.
Tony, Eric Pedrucci, Max Pattarelli. Who are you voting for?
Got to give it to Eric. He came with the complete package. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Morgan.
Eric Producci as well.
All right, and then last but not least, little Jeffrey.
You got to give it to Eric.
Okay. All right. So Eric Pedrucci, folks, is winning this matchup. We all felt that, really strongly that he just brought everything to the table with great rendering. The design is pretty consistent and solid. And we felt like Max Pattarelli didn't quite nail it. The design seemed kind of tacked on at the end. And it's unfortunate because he's a very talented artist, as judging by the incredible rendering of the Harley Quinn piece. Ultimately, we thought Eric Pedrucci hit all the notes, and that's why they got our vote. There'll be other judges voting later tonight, as well as your ability to vote, because you can swing this battle. Right now, clean sweep for Eric Pedrucci. Doesn't have to stay that way. You can change that. Make sure you go to our website, look at the artwork for yourself, and then hit this button to go vote. All right, folks, we have one more team. We're going to knock this out so that we can wrap this up for you guys, because we know that, this has been, we want to try to get this thing moving quickly. We want you guys to have plenty of time to research this and vote. So the last one for Saturday afternoon is all about Anime Toonami Spring 2022. This is going to be a hard one. This is between Mu-On from Madagascar, and it's not. So if that's being said, let's jump into it. I'm going to start with, let's see here. We're going to start with Tony Dawkins on this one. Tony, what did you make of Mu-On's work here?
I thought that this was really, really cool. I have a bias because I'm a really big One Piece fan. So just seeing the fact that they had the new form for Luffy on here, then you got Kaido over here to the right, like that's pretty dope. I will say that I would have appreciated the. I think that this card would have been perfect if you just had the background kind of just be white, just so you can have more focus on the characters. I think that the background it works, but just because it's a lot of the same colors with the main character, and there's a lot of shades of that color on the main characters, they kind of mix together a bit, especially if you were to, go and look at it from a distance. But as a whole, I think that this is a really, really good design.
All right. Okay. Folks, if Tony takes off his do-rag, he does have hair very similar to Luffy in his new form. So that's why he's a big fan of this. He's got a blonde curl underneath that do-rag. Jackie, what did you make of this? Because I think both of these are from One Piece. Am I wrong about that? Are these both One Piece?
I'm
Yeah,
still watching One Piece. But I know the first one is.
Yeah, they're both from One Piece.
Oh, okay. I'm a
I
One
didn't
Piece
know. So
fan.
go ahead, Jackie.
So yeah, it's a great show, but I love the background. I'm gonna have to disagree with Tony on that one. I love the background. Um, and I think this is both of these are very strong images. And I really like it. I don't really have anything bad to say. I mean, I can't really see anything noticeable that kind of strikes me as something um I would speak out about. I would say I'm not really too sure what that white thing is in the very top and the very bottom. I'm not too sure what that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That line right there, it
Mm-hmm.
almost looks like something you'd flip or something. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I mean, yeah, I think both of these are really strong.
Yeah. No, I'm quite closer to you on this. Let's see. So then for the next card, then it's Mu-On from Madagascar. And for the next card, we have It's Nothing Personal from Canada. And we have two very popular series we all recognize from this. So let me first start off with Morgan. Morgan, what did you make of these cards here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the artwork is phenomenal. It's just very well rendered. The shading is very well done. The line work's clean. Like you can just really tell these different characters in the piece. The design itself, I think, is also just phenomenal. It's very clear from a distance what the suits are, what the color of the cards are, and it's very minimal. You know, they didn't have to go above and beyond. You can still recognize the cards even with all this gorgeous artwork on there. And I think they did a better job in this one than the other artists in terms of framing the characters and having them come off the page. It doesn't feel like they're tight on the page, like they ran out of room. It was very intentional how they have them coming off of the card. Obviously, the flipped images, I think they did a very good job of. The only pieces of these that I'm not a super big fan of are the shapes in the middle. I don't think that they were I don't think they were super necessary. I like it. I like seeing this sort of negative space, and it works well on the Attack on Titan card. But they, like I said, they don't really need it. The K and the 7, like those are very recognizable. These other shapes, I think it was just one extra element that they didn't need to add. Although I still don't think it super detracts from the image.
Sure. Yeah. Jeffrey, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, there's nothing personal really popped off with this one. I pretty much have the same opinion. I like that they really took the time to make sure that the characters popped out while also adding a lot of visual flair to the background. And obviously the colors are really beautiful. The rendering is great. I kind of like the way that the hearts are placed. I think I wish they were more distinguished. Like if there was a bit more of a if there was something to just kind of make them stand out more, to see that, to like show that they were there, because it's like I look at it and I forget that those hearts are there. The king works well. The hearts not so much, but other than that, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, so folks, to me, this is one of the hardest ones here because I think again, we look back on the previous matchups this round and what made it so difficult. Obviously, again, we were very clear about this. You had to have design, you had to have rendering, you had to have like a sense of layout so that you could make everything work and function. And this one to me had the most balance between the two. I mean, again, Thirdphp had amazing rendering. The probably had the best attempt to do design, like the suit and the number to the card without it necessarily being part of overall design strategy. But still, in my view, their competitor, ABD Illustrates, just nailed everything. Everything was just there. You may prefer the rendering as I did with Thirdphp, but you couldn't deny that the rendering was completely suitable. The card layout was fantastic, and the design was just spot on for the two cards that they did. Same case with Design Sunset, even though, again, I preferred T-Brow Art's just complete rendering example, and I felt that his design was not great, but it did allow him to at least to have everything where it needed to be. And that's why I preferred, what he did in that case. This one, to me, this really is just, it just comes down to your personal preference, whereas the other ones, I think, had some specific differences. This one just comes down to your personal preference. So again, you look at Mulan here. If you love manga style art, then you're going to like this. That Luffy alone is just fantastic. It's rendered well. You got the abs, you got everything. We've had Jackie talking about backdrops and so forth on the cards. I'm not one who believes you should have them in a collectible solitaire or playing card type of scenario. But here's an example where you can do it and it really works. There's some design cues here that don't. That little weird flap that he has at the top here at the bottom makes no difference to the artwork. The number and the suit are really minimalist, and I think on this card here, which by the way I found out is named Kaido. On the Kaido card here, the king and the spade. I think having it be so minimal really distracts. It's awkward. It works better here because the artwork here is so localized in the center. But with this one being artwork that really goes from top to bottom and stretches into the corners a bit more, than just having this be so nondescript. Like you would almost prefer it to be bold and maybe have like a line around it just so it can clearly stand out. That's about as much as I complain about it, because artistically, art style wise, if you like manga style art, it's really hard to not appreciate this card over the card that was done by Muon's competitor, which is It's Nothing Personal. It's Nothing Personal art is completely different. So this is not manga style art. This is just gorgeous art. This is just fantasy illustration level art, and it's really, really, really well done. As I've said before, in my judgments of these pieces, and why this was always going to be a difficult round, you had to bring it all together. Whether or not, as I've said before about Martial Art Madness, you don't have to be the best artist. You don't have to have the best skills. You don't have to have all the equipment that a professional artist would have. You just have to be able to take all the things you have to do in a particular theme, a particular matchup, and you just have to do the best you can and be clever with the strengths that you do have. And I think in this case, for this round, it was all about your understanding of design. If you understood design, then you thought about the solitaire card from a design standpoint first, and you made the artwork fit that. If you were stronger as an artist, then you thought about the art first, and then tried to assume what the design could be to service your art. I think that was more T. Brown Art, who I don't think had a great design, but the design wasn't particularly bad. It just wasn't great. But his artwork was really well rendered, so he was able to make it fit, together, even though it wasn't great. In this case, this artist clearly was saying, look, I'm going for a design here. I'm going to render a great design here. And the design is going to work for the artwork that I'm going to make specifically for the design. And here you see that, like you said, I don't agree with the little hearts punctured here and the crown punctured here, but clearly they thought about it as part of the design. Clearly for the crown one in particular, like the guy's holding it, it's like they clearly thought at the beginning of this is a design I'm going to go with, and this is how I'm going to incorporate everything. And therefore the artwork came to support the design, not the other way around. And it works. Again, you might not like the style of art in comparison to the manga style of art, but you can't deny that this is just beautiful. This works across the board. Rendering is fantastic. The layout is fantastic, and the design is fantastic. I mean, the simplicity and the uniformity of the K and the 7 are the same font, and it's an interesting font. The heart and the spade or clover are put together. They're of the same type, the same ilk, and they're rendered correctly. They're all positioned exactly the same from each other. And so for me, at the end of the day, when you look at all of those factors, as I've been consistent throughout this round, I have to give this to It's Nothing Personal. Again, manga art wise, I love this, but just the lack of just the fact that this is not, to me, the best choice to go with the number or the suit, and this weird thing here that just doesn't exist for any particular reason I can think of. But otherwise than that, like if they had a better use for it, I probably could have gone with this because the backdrop is amazing. This is a fantastic backdrop for both of these cards, and they can work. This card proves you can do full art on the backdrop of your card and still have it work, provided that you have a design strategy that says, I'm going to make sure that the K, the suit, and the number of the cards are completely visible. They're clearly visible. They clearly stand out for this solitaire card. Design skill first, and if this one, the person clearly had a design in mind, wasn't the I think the most impactful design, but they clearly had a design first. They didn't, in my view, make the right choices ultimately. Whereas I think this artist had a design in mind first, and they made all the right choices to make these cards really, really work as being a work of art and being an effective playing card for solitaire. My vote's for It's Nothing Personal. Again, folks, don't repeat what I said. If you got something to add to the conversation, go with it. But let me hear your thoughts. We start with you, Jeffrey. Who do you give this to? It's Nothing Personal or Move On?
Yeah, I have about the same. I'm going to give it to It's Nothing Personal.
Okay. All right. Morgan, It's Nothing Personal or Move On?
Mine is also It's Nothing Personal, primarily because I think the art was stronger in both pieces, whereas only the Luffy one was interesting for Muon. The layout I felt was more intentional. It doesn't feel cramped like in the other two. And then this is a bit nitpicky for me, but I can easily tell the red and the black cards apart from each other. The backgrounds on the other two, I don't know if that was coincidence or intentional that it's supposed to be the two colors of the different suits. But the fact that I have to ask that question, I feel like makes It's Nothing Personal come out on top for me.
Got it. Okay. Tony Dawkins.
Also got to go with It's Nothing Personal. Again, Muan had a really good piece overall, but I think that just from a design standpoint, It's Nothing Personal really brought it in terms of just making sure that the characters pop, and then having the suits and how they designed it overall work. So yeah, going to with It's Nothing Personal.
All right, and last but not least, Jackie, Muon or It's Nothing Personal?
Well, this was definitely the hardest matchup for me to decide over, but I'm gonna have to give it to It's Nothing Personal as well, just because, in terms of ideas, It's Nothing Personal. Look at it. They have a story element in each card. They're trying to tell a story.
That's true.
They have a composition. The composition is really well. The design aspect, making it look like a card, that they nailed that. They nailed the how pretty the artwork is. And they really thought about it, like you said. They really thought about the design complementing their artwork. And I think, It's Nothing Personal just nailed it for me. Mu-on's very strong, very pretty, but gonna have to give it to It's Nothing Personal.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, again, this was always going to be a really, really, really tough round. And I think that ultimately, when it's all said and done, this was going to test the best artists that were left on the complete picture. Because I can tell you guys, next week doesn't get any easier. Next week is the final round, and whoever emerges, the four artists that we're left with, who did have to compete against each other for all the victory. And the iPad, from that standpoint, you look at it, and you're like, okay, well, then this is something where you've actually got to put the work in. So it's just a more complicated process. So yeah, I was really, really taken with that. I really felt strongly about the design part of this round, and I think that there were a number of artists who just nailed it. And I think if it works that way, and we see these four artists in the final next week, that means that it's going to be a true battle, because you've got artists who are not only skilled in rendering and skilled in layout and composition, as Jackie said, but they understand how to design things. They understand how to put everything together and make it appealing in unique and clever ways. And that, for a final amongst four different artists, is, therefore then everything is equal, and it's all about the concept and the idea that they have. Makes next week going to be extremely scary and exciting and everything. So this round for this matchup is looking like we're choosing It's Nothing Personal. Folks, again, we really want you to make your voices known. Your voices do count. There are a number of creators who made it into this far in the tournament because they got so many people who came and voted for them, even though we had voted against them. Just like in this case, they were able to turn the conversation because they voted for the person they believed in. And we're not here to override any votes. We're just here to make sure that all the votes are competitive. And so from that standpoint, it's nothing personal. We all agree for It's Nothing Personal, but you can agree it's Muon, and you can make your vote known tonight before 9 p.m. So it's 6:50 p.m. right now, Eastern Standard Time. There's a couple of hours left. Don't hesitate. Get out there. Vote for your favorite artist from Team Saturday Afternoon, Team Saturday Brunch, Team Saturday PM, and Team Saturday AM. Go to our website at www.saturday-am.com/madness, and you will be able to come to this page, check out all the artwork for yourself. You can even see previous rounds, and you can get your vote in before too late tonight and help make sure that your artist moves on to the next round and gets closer to winning those prizes that we've talked about. Again, folks, we would appreciate your support. If you go to our website, please check out our line of graphic novels. We really appreciate it. We've got some amazing graphic novels coming out, as we talked about. And you guys can help our creators realize their dreams by being one of the first to pre-order the graphic novel, be the first to receive the graphic novel, and qualify for the trading cards that come with it. We also have a wonderful How to Draw a Diverse Manga book that's coming out in June. So you don't want to miss this, folks. Please go and support diverse manga by going to our website and getting our graphic novels. We, of course, also have an app. You can go to our app and download it and access it on your iOS device or your Android device. We have magazines featuring our content, and so it's very, very cool. You're able to check out all the great content that we have. Whoops, I was trying to pull this up here so you guys can see this. There we go. So you can go here also to our web app if you're a subscriber, or if you're not, you can go to our web app and you're able to access a number of our issues for free on our site. Just click the button here you see, and you can read it for free inside of our your website or the app. If not that, when you see the little sign like this, that means you have to subscribe to do it. And subscribes, folks, is only $3.99 per month, so you can't miss it. It's totally worth it. Getting diverse manga and getting on the team for that is fantastic. Of course, we want to thank Flick Solitaire for helping to promote this event and giving us a chance to have a great prize at the end. There will be a number of creators from this year's March Art Madness who will help us design a brand new Flick Solitaire deck. You can check that out by going to flick.games, download the game for yourself, and make sure you choose a Saturday AM deck so that you can play with the Saturday AM cards. We designed all 52 cards of our deck. We even have custom audio in it, so you can check all that out by going to flick.games, downloading the app for yourself, playing the game for free, and downloading our Saturday AM deck while you're at it. But again, folks, nothing matters more than you going to our site and voting. So please make sure you go to our website, you select the March Art Madness tab, and you scroll down, choose, check out the artwork, and then choose your favorite and hit the button to vote for each of the teams. We want you to vote for each of the teams. You have to vote on the survey fully, and you'll have a chance to get your favorite artist to the next round. With that being said, I do want to thank our amazing artists who participated this year for March Art Madness. 64 artists from around the world. They've been amazing. This is easily one of the most talented groups we've ever had. And so I think you guys can appreciate amazing artwork when you check out the site. I also want to thank Jackie Rindy, who has been really marshaling and keeping this event moving in the right direction. I created this event 7 years ago. I did it myself for 5 years. It nearly killed me. Jackie has come in and she's been working with me for a couple of years now, and she's really been able to do a lot of this herself. And so if you guys appreciate seeing us continue to grow and expand and try new ideas and give more opportunities to up-and-coming creators, then please support folks like Jackie and make sure you support Saturday AM, because it's a team sport in what we're doing. With that being said, I'm going to give everyone a chance to give some final words before we sign off. Jackie, any final words from you?
I just want to thank everyone who put in the work this week and really thought about, designing these cards. And I want to thank, everyone on the website team who put all this together. This has been a really fun competition, and it's crazy to think that this is the semifinals and next week is going to be the finals. So it's kind of mind blowing to me. So next week is going to be really fun. Can't wait to see you guys there. Hope you guys will join us for our next show, which it'll either be on Saturday or Sunday again. But other than that, that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Cedric, you have any comments to make? I'm sorry, sir. I'm talking to Tony Dawkins, ladies and gentlemen, creator of Titan King. He's in the house. Any final words, Tony?
Yeah, I'll just say, thank everybody for entering. You guys are, rock stars. I mean, these have all been really, really awesome, to see, and I feel honored to just be here, being able to just comment on it. And want to thank, Frederick and Jackie for having me on. And I definitely look forward to future competitions and watching, the champion emerge from all of these artists. So, yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, previous years we've had an artist win from the United Kingdom, 2 from America, 1 from Australia, and then 1 from the Philippines. So yeah, I mean, this year, first of all, I mean, based on the votes that we just had in this year's tournament, you're talking, if what we voted for comes to pass, you're talking about an artist potentially from the United Kingdom, an artist potentially from Jamaica, an artist potentially from Brazil, an artist potentially from Canada or Madagascar. So that is that means, the odds are that'll be an artist that is in a new country, perhaps, which is really exciting. So I think that's again, this is a big tournament for artists around the world, so I think it's amazing to give these so many great artists a chance from different parts of the world. Morgan, did you have anything you wanted to add for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to be here and to judge another round of these really talented artists. In addition to playing solitaire, I also collect playing cards, so I was really inspired to see a lot of the really good artwork here. I encourage these artists, regardless of whether they make it through this next round, to continue designing cards because you guys have really shown that you've got a talent for it. And again, there's a market for collectors like me getting decks like this. So if not for your own success, I encourage you guys to complete these cards, but also so I could get a copy for my collection because they're really cool.
So it's really, yeah. I mean, I think I've heard about people collect playing cards. It's not me, but I think I've heard about that. So that's interesting to know. Mr. Jean Louis, what about you?
I just wanted to thank you guys for letting me be a judge for this round as well. And then I also wanted to thank all the March Art Madness contestants that have entered because all their art has been just fantastic up to this point. And I can't wait to see more. And yeah, thanks you guys for also watching as well.
Yeah, and a big shout as well. I mean, you obviously, if you guys are watching this video, you've heard people talk about the amazing artists who participated. And I want to be very clear, that includes the artists who haven't made it to the final round. There's been some amazing artists every year who, of course, get defeated, including in the very first round each tournament. And you're like, man, that artist was amazing. They just didn't get enough votes to make it to the next round, but that artist could have maybe won the tournament. So every artist who participates in March Art Madness is special, and we really appreciate all of their work. This tournament is special because we have so many great competitors from around the world. So whether you made it this far or not, we certainly appreciate you, and we want to thank you guys for being a part of this. Tony, of course, is reading messages he shouldn't be reading, folks. That's why he's smiling. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He's laughing because he's reading messages, kids. That's the things I have to do with this group. You want to say something, Tony? I see you quickly turned off your little thing there. We're like, oh, hey everybody. Anything you want to say?
Get off me, Fred.
I think, Tony, you can end up on a TV show that we're creating. Jeffrey and I are producing a TV show, Tony, with Blake Showers. We're gonna have you on that show. Ain't that right, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I'm so excited about it, honestly. Tony, you did great at it, honestly. It'd be grand. We'll all get together. We'll be all Muppets.
No, we're not. No, you're going to be a Muppet character. I would not be a Muppet character. I would play a real person. Blake and I would be real people, but you would voice a Muppet character.
I think it'd be funny if Fred, you're a real person, but your character his head is always on fire to represent your passion in these speeches.
I'll be honest with you. If we make this show, and you folks watching this, you don't know what we're talking about, but trust me, it is one of the more brilliant ideas I've had. And if we make this show, the only way I will appear on the show is if I play a version of myself, a neighbor to the main character of the show. But I would be, if you guys ever saw Lord of the Rings, they did the technology where the hobbits were like, they're normal people in real life, but they look like really small. I would want to be that. I want to be like this little person, so I have to look up everybody. And I like, like they, like the character would come into his home and I'd be sitting on like a coffee mug and be like, hey, what's up there, buddy? Yeah, I thought I'd just come in here and hang out. Yeah,
Mr. Rogers.
I would like that. And with and with the special effects that we're talking about doing here, it would look pretty ghetto. So it would be great. It'd be Adult Swim times 1,000. So we're really excited. Hopefully that show can happen. But folks, the March Art Madness logo, I meant to say this, is a courtesy of Morgan Walker. She's designed many of our logos in the past couple of years for March Art Madness and Summer of Manga. We'll be talking about Summer of Manga and the sign-up process for our short story event next week for our final round. So please make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in on our website tomorrow so you can see who the final 4 are, what the themes they have to do are, and then likewise come back to the website every day this week because we're going to have new things uploaded, talking about interviews with our creators, interviews with some of the people who participate in March Art Madness. We have new issues coming out of Saturday AM and Saturday Brunch. So make sure you come back frequently to the website. Let's get that traffic and make sure you check out what we're doing at Saturday because it's a very exciting time for our diverse manga brand. With that being said, everybody, I want to thank you all so much for attending this, and we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Take care, guys.